little stumble? That doesn't have to be your story. As we add experience and wisdom to our years, there are small, everyday details that begin to take on new importance, don't they? Perhaps that slightly uneven sidewalk we once barely noticed, or the simple act of getting up from a favorite chair, now requires a little extra attention. It's natural, and with it, sometimes a quiet concern can arise, a worry about losing our footing about an unexpected trip. Because staying steady, feeling secure in every movement, isn't just about avoiding a bump or a bruise. It's the key to continuing to fully enjoy life. Our walks, the company of our loved ones, our independence. It's the very foundation of our daily freedom. Now imagine this. What if I told you there are proven ways, small master adjustments in how we move that can make a gigantic difference to our stability? I'm not talking about becoming Olympic athletes, but about reawakening our body's natural intelligence for balance. There are people who, with wisdom and practice, have integrated these adjustments and walked through life with enviable grace and security. Today, I want to share with you 7 golden keys to stable walking, open secrets among experts in movement and well-being for our golden years, yet often overlooked. These are simple gestures, almost instinctive once we know them, that can transform the way you walk. And I want you to pay close attention, because the third key is, for many, a true revelation. It's a detail in our posture that, without us realizing it, might be sending contradictory signals to our center of balance. Correcting it is like finding the missing piece of a puzzle, and the effect on your steadiness can be immediate and quite surprising. Allow me to share a short story that wonderfully illustrates the power of these small changes. Some time ago, I met a gentleman named Ernest. He, a lifelong passionate gardener, had begun to feel that his walks in the garden, once his greatest joy, were becoming a source of anxiety. "My legs aren't what they used to be," he confessed to me one day with a sigh, "and every root, every little stone, feels like an insurmountable obstacle." But Ernest didn't give up. Together, we explored some of these golden keys that I'm about to reveal to you. This wasn't about strenuous therapies, but rather a rediscovery of how his own body was designed to move with grace and efficiency. It was a gentle relearning process, a reconnection with his own innate capacity for balance. Today, Ernest has not only regained the confidence to care for his beloved roses, but he's also back to enjoying long morning walks, something he himself believed he had lost forever. His remarkable transformation wasn't a product of magic. It was a result of consistently applying small pieces of knowledge that have a big impact. Witnessing transformations like Ernest and understanding deeply how seemingly minor adjustments can restore so much freedom and security has been the true driving force behind my last 30 years of dedication to the study of conscious movement and well-being in adulthood that I've had the privilege of learning from great masters of balance, collaborated with experts in senior care, and above all, see with my own eyes how the right information, when applied with care and dedication, can truly change lives. And it's precisely all that accumulated experience, that genuine passion for sharing what really works, that drives me to present this video to you today. I want to condense here the keys that I consider most effective and, at the same time, the simplest to implement, so that you too can feel that steadiness and joy in walking that you so richly deserve. I am convinced that what we are going to explore in the next few minutes will not only be interesting to you, but profoundly useful, because what Ernest achieved and what thousands of people are discovering every day is also within your reach. Now, before we dive into these 7 golden keys to stable walking, it would be wonderful to learn a little about your experience. Is there a particular situation where you feel your balance could improve? Perhaps when facing stairs, walking on uneven ground, or simply when changing direction unexpectedly. If you feel comfortable doing so, you can share it in the comments below. Reading your experiences enriches us and helps us understand that, although individual, we share similar challenges. What you'll find in this video are not empty promises, but practical, well-founded information that aligns with the natural functioning of our bodies, and with strategies that have proven to be truly effective. We are going to explore each of these 7 keys in a clear and direct way, so you can start integrating them into your daily life and notice, step by step, a positive difference in your walking safety. And don't forget that third key I mentioned earlier. It's a detail we often overlook, but adjusting can have a truly significant impact. I'm sure you'll find it very revealing. So, if you are ready to embark on this journey towards a steadier, more confident way of walking, this is the perfect moment. If you feel this content could be useful for you or for someone you care about, a simple like on this video makes a big difference. It helps this valuable information reach many more people who could greatly benefit from it. And of course, I encourage you to subscribe and activate the channel's notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos, which we prepare with dedication, full of tips and strategies for living with greater well-being and independence. Adjustment number 1. The horizon gaze, not at your feet. All right, let's begin our journey to a safer way of walking with our first golden key. And this one, allow me to tell you, is fundamental, although we often overlook it completely. It has less to do with your feet and more to do with something a little higher up, the direction of your gaze. Think about it for a moment. When you walk, where do your eyes naturally tend to go? If you're like most people, your gaze probably tends to drop, focusing on the ground just a few steps ahead. It seems logical, doesn't it? We want to see where we're stepping to avoid any unforeseen obstacles. However, therein lies a small trap for our balance. By constantly fixing your gaze downwards, several things happen. Your head tends to tilt forward, which subtly shifts your center of gravity. This can create tension in your neck and back. And most importantly, it limits the information your brain receives from the environment to maintain an upright and stable posture. The alternative is what I call the conscious panoramic gaze. It's not about stop paying attention to where you step, but about doing so in a smarter, more balanced way. It consists of 3 simple points of focus. First, the near scan point. Instead of looking directly at your feet, lift your gaze to focus about 10 to 15 feet or 3 to 5 meters ahead. This distance gives you enough time to identify any irregularities in the terrain, while your peripheral vision, that wonderful ability to see out of the corner of your eye, will take care of the most immediate obstacles without needing to lower your head. Second, the far orientation point. Every so often, perhaps every 10 or 15 seconds while walking, take a visual pause and lift your gaze even further towards your destination, toward the horizon, or simply to the end of the street. This simple gesture helps your spine align naturally, opening your chest and improving your overall posture almost instantly. And third, and this is a key detail, activate your peripheral awareness. Try to be more conscious of the space and movements occurring to your sides without needing to constantly turn your head. It's like expanding your field of vision, allowing your brain to receive more information for a better balance. Perhaps at first, if you are very accustomed to looking at the ground, this new way of directing your gaze might seem a bit strange, even a little insecure. That's normal, but I encourage you to practice it on your daily walks. Start in familiar and safe places. You'll notice how, little by little, not only does your posture improve, but you'll also feel more connected to your surroundings, more present, and surprisingly more stable. Think of it as if you were driving a car. You don't just look at the hood, do you? You need to see the road ahead to anticipate and react. Walking is similar. A broader, more strategic gaze is the first big step towards greater steadiness. Adjustment number 2, conscious foot placement, gentle heel to toe. We continue our journey towards safer, steadier walking with our second golden key, one that focuses directly on the foundation of our movement, how our feet make contact with the ground. It may seem like a minor detail, but the way each foot lands and pushes off has a profound impact on our entire kinetic chain, from our ankles all the way up to our spine. Over the years, and sometimes due to improper footwear or simply acquired habits, it's common for our walking pattern to change. Some people start to walk more flat-footed, letting the entire foot drop at once, as if it were a plank. Others, perhaps to avoid heel pain, may develop a more tiptoe-like gait. Both of these adaptations, while understandable, can compromise the efficiency and stability of our walk. Think about the human foot. It's a masterpiece of natural engineering. With its 26 bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments, it's designed to absorb impact, adapt to uneven terrain, and propel us forward with an incredible combination of flexibility and strength. When we don't use this mechanism optimally, we lose many of its benefits. The technique we want to rediscover or refine is what biomechanics experts call a heel-to-toe roll or heel-to-toe strike. This isn't about a forced or exaggerated movement, but rather a fluid, natural sequence that optimizes shock absorption and propulsion. Let's see how it works. First, Initial heel contact. When you take a step, the first contact with the ground should ideally be with the back, slightly outer part of your heel. This initial contact should be gentle, not a harsh thump. Think of it as your heel kissing the ground. This first touch is crucial because it allows your foot to begin reading the terrain and preparing for the next phase. Second, weight transfer. Once the heel has made contact, your body weight begins to roll progressively forward along the outer edge of your foot. At this moment, the arch of your foot plays a vital role, acting like a spring that absorbs the impact energy and briefly stores it. If your foot lands flat, the spring mechanism is largely lost. Third, mid-stance and adaptation. As your weight transfers to the middle part of your foot, it adapts to the surface. The multiple bones and joints allow your foot to mold to small irregularities, providing a stable base. Fourth, propulsion from the toes. Finally, as the heel of your other foot prepares to touch the ground, your supporting foot pushes off, primarily using your big toe and the adjacent toes. This push-off, or toe-off, is what gives us momentum for the next step. A good push-off from the toes not only moves us forward, but also activates the calf muscles, which are important for circulation and leg strength. Now, it's important to mention that for some people with certain foot conditions, such as severe plantar fasciitis or very painful heel spurs, initial heel contact can be uncomfortable. In these cases, it's essential to consult with a podiatrist or physical therapist to adapt the technique or treat the underlying condition. However, for most, recovering this heel-to-toe sequence can bring noticeable benefits. Why is this sequence so important? Biomechanical studies have shown that a correct heel-to-toe gait distributes impact forces more evenly across the leg joints, ankle, knee, hip, reducing stress on each one. Additionally, it facilitates better dynamic balance, as the foot has more time and a larger contact area to adjust and react during each step that you'll practice it. Start by walking slowly, perhaps barefoot on a safe, comfortable surface like a carpet or with flexible footwear. Concentrate on feeling that sequence, the gentle landing of the heel, the rolling of the weight, and the final push off from your toes. Don't worry about speed at first. The key is awareness of the movement. With practice, this pattern will become more natural and automatic, restoring fluidity and efficiency to your walk that you might have thought was lost. This conscious foot placement not only protects your joints, but also connects you more intimately and securely with the ground you walk on. Adjustment number 3, the inner hug, gentle core activation. We now arrive at our third golden key, and this is one that's often associated with intense gym routines, but has a much more subtle and profoundly beneficial application for our stability when walking. I'm referring to the conscious activation of our core through what I call the inner hug. When we talk about the core, many imagine a six-pack, but in reality, the core is a complex system of deep muscles that wrap around our torso like a natural corset. It includes abdominal muscles like the transversus abdominis, the deepest one, lower back muscles like the multifidus, the pelvic floor, and the diaphragm. Together, these muscles are responsible for stabilizing our spine, transferring force between our upper and lower body, and crucially, keeping our center of gravity controlled as we move. A common, yet often unnoticed issue is what we could call the disconnected core while walking. As we age, or if we lead a more sedentary lifestyle, or even due to a simple lack of body awareness, it's common for these deep core muscles not to activate properly during everyday activities like walking. When this happens, the spine can become less stable, the pelvis might tilt incorrectly, and other muscles like those in the lower back or hips have to compensate. This can lead to fatigue, pain, and instability, increasing the risk of stumbles. Fortunately, there's strong scientific evidence. A strong core means a stable gait. Numerous studies in rehabilitation and biomechanics have shown a direct correlation between core strength and activation and walking stability, especially in older adults. For instance, research published in journals like Gait and Posture or the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity has found that core strengthening programs significantly improve balance, walking speed, and reduce step variability in seniors. An active core acts like an internal anchor, allowing the legs and arms to move with greater freedom and efficiency without destabilizing the trunk. So, what exactly is this inner hug, and how can you activate it gently? We're not talking about doing crunches while you walk. The inner hug is a very subtle, sustained contraction barely perceptible from the outside, but fundamental on the inside. TO activate this inner hug. The first step is to establish a mind-muscle connection, becoming aware of your lower abdomen, that sensitive area between your navel and your pubic bone. Once you focus your attention there, imagine a very fine thread extending from your navel to your spine, right at your lower back. With that image in mind, proceed with gentle pull. Very delicately, draw that imaginary thread inward, bringing your navel slightly in and also a little bit up. The sensation is similar to buttoning a pair of pants that are just a tad snug, but it's crucial that this is done without any force whatsoever. What you should experience is a sensation of support, not tension, a light internal scaffolding or firmness, and by no means a strong abdominal contraction that makes it difficult to breathe or move naturally. In fact, you should be able to hold a conversation and breathe deeply, especially using your diaphragm, while maintaining the subtle activation, which we could estimate at an intensity of just 20 to 30% of your maximum abdominal contraction capacity. Finally, the goal is to integrate it into your walking. Once you identify and become familiar with the sensation of internal support at rest, the next step is to try and maintain it while you walk. Don't worry if at first you need to consciously remind yourself every few steps. That's part of the process of turning it into a new and beneficial habit. An easy analogy to understand this is the mast of a ship. Think of your spine as the mast of a sailboat. Your core muscles are like the ropes, shrouds, and stays that secure that mast from all directions. If those ropes are slack, the mast sways with every wave, every step. If they are firm and well-tensioned but not rigid, the mast remains stable, allowing the ship to sail safely and efficiently. Your inner hug is at just right, necessary tension in the ropes. And here's a curious detail. The trans versus abdominis, our natural corset. The key muscle in this activation is the trans versus abdominis. It's the deepest of the abdominal muscles, and its fibers run horizontally around your waist like a corset. When activated correctly, it literally cinches your waist, providing incredible stability to your lumbar spine. Activating this muscle not only improves balance when walking, but, as studies on lumbar rehabilitation suggest, can also help alleviate chronic lower back pain for many people. For some applicable tips to help you remember, it can be useful initially to associate this activation with certain actions. When getting up from a chair, activate the inner hug just before you push off. When climbing a step, connect with your core. You could even put a small sticky note in a visible place at home as a visual reminder during the first few days. Integrating this inner hug into your daily walk will not only provide you with a more solid and stable foundation, but will also help protect your back and allow you to move with a greater sense of control and power from your center. It's a small change with a big echo in your overall well-being. Adjustment number 4, natural arm swing, the one many do backwards. We arrive at our 4th golden key, and this is one of my favorites because its impact on our balance and walking efficiency is enormous, and it's often the one we neglect the most or even perform incorrectly without realizing it. I'm referring to the natural and coordinated swing of our arms. Think for a moment about how a young child who has just mastered the art of walking moves. Their little arms swing with a freedom and rhythm that perfectly complement the movement of their legs. It's an instinctive ballet. However, as we age, or due to tension, shoulder pain, or simply disuse, many adults tend to restrict this movement. Arms might stay pinned to the sides, be crossed in front of chest, or even, and here's the curious detail, move in the same direction as the leg on the same side, which is biomechanically counterproductive. Why is this swing so crucial? It's not just for show. It's an integral part in efficient and stable gait. Our arms act as dynamic counterweights. When you step forward with your right leg, your left arm should naturally swing forward and vice versa. This contralateral opposite movement is fundamental for several science-backed reasons. Firstly, it leads to optimized balance and reduced sway. Biomechanical research, such as that published in journals like the Journal of Experimental Biology, has shown that arm swing counteracts the angular momentum or rotation generated by leg movement. Without this counterbalance, the torso would tend to rotate excessively with each step, forcing the core and leg muscles to work much harder to maintain stability. Imagine a tightrope walker. They often use a long pole to help with balance and stability. Our arms serve a similar, albeit more subtle function. Secondly, There's proven energy savings, and this might surprise you. Studies have quantified that walking without swinging your arms can increase metabolic costs, that is, the amount of energy we burn, by as much as 12 to 20%. And if the arms are deliberately kept still or move in the wrong synchronization, arm and leg on the same side, moving forward together, the energy expenditure can be even higher. Natural arm swing, therefore, allows us to walk farther or for longer periods with less fatigue. It's as if our body has a built-in energy efficiency system. Thirdly, it brings about improved proprioception and coordination. The rhythmic movement of the arms also sends constant sensory information to the brain about the body's position and movement in space, proprioception. This helps to improve overall coordination and the ability to respond to unexpected disturbances, like a stumbled-a-common mistake is a stiff soldier or marching in place. As I mentioned, the most frequent error is not swinging the arms at all, keeping them rigid at the sides, or the pacing gait, like some four-legged animals, where the arm and leg on the same side move in unison. The latter, in humans, instead of helping, generates a more unstable and less efficient walk. So, what does correct and natural arm swing look like? It's not about an exaggerated or forced movement, but about allowing your arms to move like relaxed pendulums from your shoulders. To achieve this correct and natural swing, it's fundamental that the movement originates primarily from the shoulder, allowing the arm to act like a pendulum, and not so much in the elbow or wrist. Keep your elbows slightly bent, finding a comfortable angle that usually and naturally ranges between 45 and 90 degrees. The direction of movement should be predominantly forward and backward, keeping your arms relatively parallel to your body and avoiding them crossing the midline of your chest excessively. It's normal for your hands to lightly brush your hip or pocket as they pass. Ensure that the rhythm is synchronized and opposite to that of your legs, meaning your left arm moves forward when your right leg does, and vice versa, creating that essential counterbalance. And, above all, aim for relaxation. Your shoulders should remain loose and low, not tense or hunched, with a general feeling of letting go of your arms so they can flow with the movement. For a practical tip to rediscover it, if you feel your arms are frozen, try this while walking in a safe place. Consciously exaggerate the swing for a minute or two. Then, try to gradually reduce the exaggeration until you find a rhythm that feels natural and effortless. Sometimes our body just needs a reminder of that innate pattern. Here's another interesting fact. It's been observed that in people with Parkinson's disease, one of the early symptoms can be a reduction or asymmetry in arm swing when walking. This underscores the neurological importance of this movement. So, the next time you go for a walk, pay attention to your arms. Are they actively participating in your movement, helping you maintain balance and save energy? Freeing your arms and allowing them to swing naturally and in coordination is like adding two intelligent stabilizers to your gait, making every step safer and more pleasant. Adjustment number 5, the firm foundation, proper footwear, and strong feet. Our fifth golden key takes us directly to the foundation of our body, that which physically connects us to the earth with every step, our feet and the footwear we choose to protect them. Achieving a firm foundation is an intelligent combination of choosing the right footwear and maintaining the intrinsic vitality of our feet. Think of your feet as the roots of a tree. They need to feel the ground to anchor themselves firmly, but they also need to be strong and flexible enough to adapt to changes. As the years go by, two important phenomena occur that we should consider. First, there are changes in sensitivity, foot proprioception, the sharpness of the nerves in our feet, which send crucial information to the brain about position, pressure, and ground texture, known as foot proprioception, can naturally decrease. This is especially relevant for people with conditions like diabetic neuropathy, but some degree of change can occur in many older adults. If the brain receives less information from the ground, the ability to make quick adjustments to maintain balance is compromised. Second is the weakening of intrinsic foot muscles. Decades of wearing shoes, often rigid and overly supportive, can lead to a weakening of the small but very important muscles located within the foot itself, the intrinsic muscles. These muscles are vital for maintaining the arch's shape, for shock absorption, and for the foot's ability to grip and adapt to the terrain. Now, let's talk about footwear, friend or foe to stability. The shoes we wear can be a great ally or, unintentionally, an obstacle to our stability. This is where up-to-date information makes a difference. For a long time, it was thought that shoes with very thick, extremely cushioned soles were best for older adults. This is a myth of maximum cushioning. While they might feel comfortable, recent research, such as that published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, suggests that excessive cushioning can actually decrease sensory feedback from the foot, creating a kind of insulation that makes it harder to feel the ground and react to irregularities. It's like trying to walk with very thick gloves on your feet. So, what are the characteristics of ideal footwear for stability? Ideally, you want a low, wide heel, no more than 2 to 3 centimeters, about 1 inch, with a broad base for greater stability. As high or very narrow heels drastically alter your center of gravity and foot mechanics. The sole should be firm yet flexible in the forefoot, offering good grip and protection, but flexible enough in the toe area to allow for the natural toe-off propulsion. A sole that's too rigid is like walking with planks on your feet. Good fit and support are also key. The shoe must hold the foot well, especially the heel and instep, to prevent slipping inside. Laces, sturdy Velcro, or buckles are preferable to slip-on shoes without support, which can easily come off or not offer adequate support. Ensure there's adequate toe space, a wide toe box, so your toes aren't cramped and can spread out to participate in balance. And finally, lightness is a plus, as a lighter shoe reduces fatigue when walking. Here's a curious fact about footwear. Did you know that a study conducted at the Institute for Aging Research at Hebrew Senior Life in Boston found that older adults who habitually wore shoes with multiple safety features, like those mentioned, had significantly lower fall rates than those who wore less suitable shoes, such as slippers or unsupportive sandals outside the home? Beyond good footwear, strengthening the foundation with simple exercises for vital feet can make a big difference. This is about going to the gym, but about simple exercises you can do at home, even while watching television. Try the accordion or a towel scrunch. Place a small towel on the floor and, while seated, try to scrunch it up and pull it towards you using only your toes, which strengthens toe flexors and the arch practice, the toe fan. Try to spread your toes as wide as possible, as if opening a fan, and then bring them together, improving mobility and intrinsic muscle strength. Heel and toe lifts seated or standing with support are also beneficial. While seated, lift your heels off the floor, keeping your toes down. Then lift your toes, keeping your heels down, or standing with support if needed. Rise up onto your tiptoes and then lower. These strengthen ankles and calves, crucial for propulsion. And for ankle mobility, try writing the alphabet with your ankle. While seated, lift one foot off the floor and write the letters of the alphabet in the air with your big toe. And an easy analogy here is to think of the tires of a car. Consider your feet and footwear as your car's tires. You need tires with the right tread for good grip sole, the correct pressure to absorb irregularities, foot flexibility and support, and that are well aligned and balanced, foot strength and proprioception. You drive much more safely with good tires, right? The same applies to walking. Dedicating a little attention to choosing the right footwear and keeping your feet active and strong is a direct investment in your independence and safety. Healthy feet and proper footwear not only prevent falls, but also make every step more comfortable and pleasant, allowing you to enjoy your daily activities more. Adjustment number 6, hip width stance. Your secure base, we move forward to our 6th golden key, an adjustment that might seem incredibly simple, yet its correct application has an immediate and very noticeable stabilizing effect. I'm referring to what I call the intelligent stance width, meaning the optimal separation of our feet when walking. Think for a moment about the base of any stable structure, a table, a tower, even a sturdy tree. All of them have a base of support proportional to their height and the forces they must withstand. Our body is no different. The distance between our feet with each step creates our dynamic base of support. And if this base is too narrow, we inherently become more unstable, as if we were trying to walk an imaginary tightrope. It's a phenomenon we often observe in people who feel unsteady when walking. They tend to keep their feet very close together, sometimes even slightly crossing one foot in front of the other as they move forward. While this might be an instinctive attempt to control movement, it actually drastically reduces lateral stability, making us more prone to losing balance with any disturbance, like a small nudge or an unexpected change in terrain. Biomechanics teaches us that a wider base of support within certain reasonable limits significantly increases stability. So what is this intelligent stance width? Generally, the ideal separation between your feet when walking is considered to be approximately the width of your hips or pelvis. It's not about walking with your legs excessively spread apart, which could also lead to an inefficient and strained gait, but about finding that middle ground where each foot seems to land naturally beneath its respective hip. Imagine you are walking on two parallel train tracks, perfectly aligned with your hips. Each foot should stay on its own track throughout the entire walking cycle. This alignment creates a rectangle of support beneath you, much more stable than a single line formed when your feet are too close together. What does science say about this? Gait analysis studies, like those conducted in biomechanics labs using force platforms and motion capture systems, have consistently shown that walking with an adequate base of support aligned with the pelvis significantly reduces the body's lateral sway, known as medial lateral sway, by up to 30 to 40% in some cases. This excessive sway is a known risk factor for falls, especially in older adults. By reducing it, the need for exaggerated compensatory arm movements to maintain balance also decreases. That a curious fact is that this need for an adequate base of support becomes even more critical when we face challenges, such as walking on slippery or uneven surfaces, or when carrying some weight. In these situations, a narrow base leaves us with very little margin for error to correct a slip or a stumble. So, how can we become aware of and adjust our stance with? Initially, it can be helpful to practice it consciously. A simple exercise is to walk slowly down a hallway in your home, paying attention to where your feet land. You could even, if you find it helpful, place 2 strips of painter's tape on the floor, separated by your hip width, and practice walking so that each foot follows its line. Over time, the goal is for the separation to become your usual automatic walking pattern. Think of it as a tripod. A tripod is stable because its 3 legs form a wide base. If you try to balance a camera on a single leg, it would be incredibly difficult. When walking, our 2 feet, in conjunction with our center of gravity, need that width for optimal stability. It's important to note that this width can vary slightly among individuals depending on their height and pelvic width. The key is to find what feels stable and natural, avoiding both walking with your feet glued together and an exaggerated separation. If you have doubts, or if you experience pain in your hips or knees when trying to widen your base, it's always advisable to consult with physical therapists who can evaluate your gait individually. Adopting this intelligent stance width is like giving your body a more solid and reliable platform from which to move. It's a subtle adjustment with the potential to transform the feeling of security in every one of your steps, allowing you to navigate your environment with greater poise and less apprehension. Adjustment number 7, stop and go. The secret to safe moves. And so we arrive at our 7th and final golden key, a principle that addresses one of the most common scenarios where imbalances and falls occur, and one we often completely underestimate: transitions in our movement. I'm referring to those brief but critical moments when we switch from one activity or position to another, and it's here that the protective pause becomes our greatest ally. Think about how many transitions you make in a normal day: getting out of bed or a chair, turning in a hallway, stopping abruptly, moving from a carpeted surface to a smooth floor, or getting in and out of the shower. Although these changes may seem trivial, they represent a challenge for our balance system, especially as we advance in age. Why are these transitions so critical? Our vestibular system in the inner ear, along with proprioception, the information from our muscles and joints, and our vision, work together to keep us upright. When we quickly change direction or activity, these systems need a moment to recalibrate, to process the new information and adjust the muscular response. If we rush these transitions, it's as if we're asking our brain to process a flood of data without giving it time to organize, significantly increasing the likelihood of a miscalculation that can lead to a stumble or fall. In fact, studies on the epidemiology of falls in older adults, such as those published by research centers in geriatrics and fall prevention, reveal a surprising fact: a very high percentage of falls, which some studies place above 50% and even higher, do not occur during a steady linear walk, but precisely during these transitional maneuvers. Turning, stopping, starting to walk, or changing tasks are the moments of greatest vulnerability. This is where the protective pause comes into play. It's an incredibly simple yet profoundly effective concept. It involves introducing a brief, deliberate pause of just 1 or 2 seconds right before and sometimes during a movement transition. It's not about moving with exasperating slowness all the time, but about being strategically mindful at key moments that let's see how to apply this protective pause in common situations. When getting up from a chair or bed, before standing up completely, pause while seated on the edge. Feel your feet firm on the floor. Gently activate your inner hug. Our key number 3, and only then push yourself up, once standing. Take another micro pause before starting to walk, allowing your body to stabilize. This is especially important if you sometimes feel a slight dizziness upon standing or orthostatic hypotension. When turning or changing direction, instead of abruptly turning on one foot while your body is still in motion, stop for a moment. Plant your feet well, as if they were the roots of a tree. Then turn your body as a whole, moving your feet in the new direction, rather than twisting your spine or hips. Think, stop, look, turn. When passing through doorways or narrow spaces, reduce your speed, take a small pause if necessary to assess the space, and then proceed carefully. When changing surfaces, as you move from a carpet to a polished floor or vice versa, be aware of the change. A brief pause allows your brain to anticipate the change in friction and texture. Here's a curious detail about our brain and movement. The cerebellum, often called the little brain, plays a crucial role in the coordination, precision, and timing of our movements. By taking a conscious pause, we give the cerebellum that extra moment it needs to coordinate the complex sequence of muscle contractions necessary for a smooth and safe transition. Think of an experienced dancer or a martial arts athlete. Their movements can be fast and fluid, but they often incorporate almost imperceptible pauses, moments of perfect balance and control before executing the next action. We can learn from that bodily mastery by applying our protective pause. For a practical tip to start cultivating this habit, identify 2 or 3 transitions you frequently make in your home that you feel could be risk points. For example, the turn in the hallway to the bathroom or getting up from your favorite armchair. For 1 week, commit to consciously applying the protective pause at these specific points. It might feel a bit artificial at first, but with repetition, it will become second nature, a silent guardian of your balance. The 7th key, the protective pause, is a finishing touch to our safe walking system. It requires no extra strength or flexibility, just a moment of awareness. It's a small gift of time you give your body to stay safe and in control, allow you to move through life not only with more stability, but also with a greater sense of calm and presence in every moment. So, there you have them, 7 golden keys to transform your walk. These aren't just tricks, but a complete method where each adjustment boosts the others, like a well-tuned orchestra, creating a synergy for renewed stability and confidence. When these 7 wonders work together, magic happens. Not only does the risk of stumbles decrease, but your gait becomes more fluid, your posture aligns, you breathe better, and most crucially, you regain that confidence to move freely. Think of Ernest in his garden. Patience and practice of these principles brought back his joy of walking. This path is a rediscovery, not a race. And so you don't feel overwhelmed, here's a simple action plan. Week 1, vision and base. Focus your attention on the panoramic gaze, key number 1, and foot placement, key number 2. Just those 2 to start. Week 2, core and rhythm. Add the inner hug, key number 3, and free up your arm swing, key number 4. You'll feel the connection. Week 3, foundation and structure. Check your footwear and activate your feet with a firm foundation, key number 5, and adjust your stance with hip-width stance, key number 6. Week 4, master transitions. Incorporate the golden pause, key number 7, in those critical moments of change. After a month, these practices will feel more natural. Before you walk, do a quick mental review of the 7 keys. Be kind and patient with yourself. Celebrate every small step forward. If you forget something one day, no problem. Just pick it up calmly. This is your personal journey to a safer, fuller, and more confident way of walking. Because every conscious adjustment we've explored today isn't just a technique. It's a direct investment in your quality of life, in your freedom to move through the world with confidence, and in your joy of living each day to the fullest. The power to walk safely, feeling the firmness beneath your feet and the harmony in your movement, resides within you. And believe me, it's ready to be unleashed and enjoyed at any age we've seen how these 7 adjustments can transform your walk. But for our bodies to respond with that desired agility, for our joints to remain flexible and our muscles strong, and for our nervous system to function optimally for balance, we need more than just good movement. We need the right fuel. Often, consistent energy, mental clarity, and maintaining a healthy weight are foundational to feeling our best and truly benefiting from these walking techniques. For those of you who might be curious about how targeted nutrition can support these very goals, perhaps you've heard about approaches like keto, but found them a bit daunting. I've actually put together a resource that simplifies things. It's an ebook called Keto Made Easy, a 28-day step-by-step plan for beginners, and it's designed to gently guide you. Keto Made Easy offers an easy-to-follow plan that can help you boost your daily energy so you can enjoy your activities without those mid-afternoon slumps, sharpen your mental acuity, reducing brain fog, and improving concentration, manage your weight healthily, focusing on maintaining muscle mass, so crucial at this stage, and support your metabolic health, which is fundamental for healthy aging. This plan can also help reduce overall inflammation, which would translate to greater joint comfort, thus complementing your efforts to move better. And all of this by simplifying your eating with easy recipes and accessible ingredients. This ebook is a powerful guide created by a nutrition and keto specialist. But please remember it's essential to talk with your doctor before starting any significant dietary changes, especially if you have pre-existing medical conditions or take medications. If you're ready to explore how well-formulated nutrition can energize your life and support your overall well-being, you'll find all the information and the link to get Keto Made Easy in the description of this video. It would be a pleasure to accompany you on that journey towards inner balance and renewed vitality too. I sincerely hope that these 7 golden keys to walking safely will be immensely useful to you. If you found value in this information, I would greatly appreciate it if you would give this video a like. As it helps us reach more people who can benefit, I also invite you to subscribe to our channel, Wellness Insight, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content, where we'll continue to explore paths to a fuller, healthier life together. Share this video with your friends, family, or anyone you think could use a boost of confidence in their walk. And before we say goodbye, I'd love to hear from you. Of these 7 keys we've explored, which one do you feel you could start implementing today? And why do you think it will make a difference in your daily life? Please leave your comment below. I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective. Don't go just yet, because right now, our next video is waiting for you, packed with more tools to continue cultivating your well-being. Thank you for joining me, and until next time,